This is probably the biggest reason why we struggle to create, to problem solve, to troubleshoot, to pursue dreams, to go after the next thing. This is probably honestly why our society is losing the ability to just think, and we're actively becoming dumber. We're at this point in our society where I think we need to be concerned about how much time we're spending on screens. Like I can show you these or this or this, and they're all things that we sit and rot on. And I'm not gonna get on here and say like I don't know. People get so mad when a creator publishes a video or posts about the dangers of doom scrolling and how bad screens are for us. And there's always comments that say, how could this makes no sense for you to say because you're literally posting this for me to consume on a screen. Yeah, I am. The reality is screens are a part of our lives. I guess it's 2026, dude. The problem is we've allowed them to dominate such a huge part of our lives, right? Like I posted my setup tour the other week, and in my setup tour, I kind of opened with just this first minute of the video is more of like a film kind of storytelling vibe where there's no music. It's just video of me making a pot of coffee so that I can make a video. And in that video, I stand at my fridge, filling my water reservoir for my coffee maker, scrolling YouTube Shorts. A few months ago, I decided I was going to delete all the social media apps off my phone because I found for me, one, it just put me in such a crappy headspace because I was just scrolling constantly. And I see people that I know posting insane garbage. And it's like, I really don't like that person anymore because they posted this dumb video. And that's not fair of me. It's not fair of me to dislike someone because they have poor taste in stuff they post. But I also found for me, it was impacting my mood because I'd see things. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to buy that. Like, that's awesome. And targeted ads all of a sudden are feeding me all these things I want to buy. Or I'm running into stuff from where it just like scrolling through Twitter now or X. There's just, if you flip over from, there's like your things you follow, and then there's like the For You tab where it just feeds you things on the algorithm. And it just got to a point where it was just like copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy. It was just the same things over and over and over. And you linger on, one copy paste too long, and all of a sudden your algorithm is feeding you every sinsingle person that's ever copied and pasted that. And it's just horrible. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's rotten. I would scroll on TikTok for hours. Oh, got to pass the time, waiting in line at the grocery store, scroll through some TikTok, waiting to, get in the shower at the end of the day, scroll through TikTok, sit in bed for an hour at night, scroll through TikTok while watching a show with my wife. And I just found that for me, it was impacting my mood, and I just started to feel dumber. And the reality is, our society is becoming dumber. Like, you think of the problem solving that occurred years ago, and someone's gonna fire off, well, yeah, but with AI now, we can problem solve so much. That's the problem, though. And I'm not against AI. I used AI to actually kind of script out and help organize this recording and a lot of my vlogs. I'm using it for a lot of things. The problem is we're replacing our ability to problem solve with technology. Not to augment our ability to problem solve, not to help us problem solve, but we're trying to replace the actual ability to problem solve with technology, making technology solve the problems for us. And it's just a dangerous, scary place to be as a society where we're so over dopamine stimulated out the wazoo because we're just constantly. This is. I did some research because I was curious what this does. And there's some research someone did where it shows that, I'm just going to scroll up on my notes here. Apparently, according to some research, freedom, something or other, we actually jump from post to post every 19 seconds. Every 19 seconds, someone is swiping up. Every 19 seconds, someone is scrolling. And what that does is it feeds dopamine to your brain. And so then, like, I've been understanding this with my kids, right? Where it's just like, we're not gonna do screens. Well, what am I supposed to do? Well, you just chill. What do you mean just chill? And I think back to when I was a kid, and like to watch TV, I had to ask permission from my mom, and 7 times out of 10, she was gonna say, no, go hang out in your room. And it just, our society now, we've lost the ability, the art of being bored. Like, think of some of your greatest innovations in life, your greatest troubleshooting, problem-solving moments in your life. And think about when those came about and what you were doing. And you were probably sitting in a still, quiet room. Like, there wasn't much going on. I remember as a kid, I would just tinker, just find random crap in the woods, find random things around the house and just tinker. And, you know, just mess around. Like, you think about if you're like in your 30s and you didn't have cable TV growing up. See, cable TV was this thing where they would actually run a line underground through whatever to connect the cable to your house. If you're younger than like 30, that's what cable TV is. But like, if you didn't have cable TV, you had an antenna. And the antenna, it was like 2 rabbit ears, right? That would, or whatever, 2 little poles that would stick up. And I guarantee you, the guy who discovered if you take tinfoil and you wrap the ears with it and join it, it's actually going to boost your signal even more. I guarantee that was just some bored redneck sitting in his house. Like, that probably was not someone who was sitting around going, what can I invent? Let me look up on the TV what we can invent. We didn't have AI then. It was probably just some bored redneck who said, what if I just connect a little more metal in there and it amplifies the signal? We've just lost this ability to be still, be calm, be bored, and create. I found for myself lately that the less time I've been spending on screens, the more time I've been able to actually create. Like, I've got such a fresh idea of where I want to go with my content because I'm not overloading my mind with dopamine. And I'll be honest, like, there are a few creators I love to watch. I consume all their content and I get a lot of ideas and inspiration. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is we've overloaded our minds with dopamine so much that the mere idea of sitting in a room doing absolutely nothing stresses us out and makes us anxious. And it's almost like we're having withdrawals. The same way someone addicted to a drug would have a hard time tolerating the mere idea of not consuming that drug to get through their daily life. It freaks us out. It makes us anxious. And the reality is we are only going to continue to get dumber the more accessible technology becomes to us as a society. So if you're trying to create, the first step I would say to being creative is to be bored. Just sit with your thoughts. Just honestly, something that's been helpful for me is just going and sitting outside and doing nothing and just being, just existing in nature. For me, that's been so helpful for getting creative. I just think there's a lot of value to getting outside and touching some grass. Like, it's just, the reality is there's value in touching grass, and I'm not like granola or anything, but being one with nature. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Going outside barefoot. And so that's just kind of where we're at as a society. I got some more thoughts on this, but we got to get to work. See, the thing that I've been trying to figure out is there's nothing wrong with watching screens to like chill out and relax and decompress and unwind. Like, I like watching a little bit of TV. To be honest, I've been burnt out on TV. Like, it's just, I feel like I've watched everything I want to watch, and so it's hard to find something new to watch. So we're just kind of at this point where we're going back and rewatching shows we've already watched before, but maybe it's been, you know, like you just, I don't really understand it. Like, I think I just overloaded myself on dopamine for so long that I'm just so numb to the experience of enjoying a new show. Like it takes a certain, that's really, it's like you build up this tolerance over time of like what kind of show you enjoy watching and what really like what kind of show really, like tickles your fancy. That's a weird way to put it. But the problem is when we're constantly overloading ourselves on dopamine because of screens, we're inhibiting our ability to just enjoy basic things in life, right? Like you think about just how simple things seemed 20, 30 years ago and how everything just seems to carry an extra burden now. And a lot of that is because we've just overloaded our minds with dopamine. But when it comes to building the thing that you want to build, right? So like this new brand I'm building, the only way I can successfully launch this workshop, this project, is if I release myself from needing to be overloaded with dopamine. Like if I just unwind and disconnect a little bit from social media, which there's a lot of irony in that because you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching this video on a platform intended to provide that dopamine response. It's kind of a paradox, like a conundrum, honestly. But you also have to recognize that screens are, and technology are just kind of inevitable parts of our lives now in 2026. And there's nothing wrong with harnessing technology to build a project, to launch a brand. It's just like anything, too much of anything can become a bad thing. And so it's really just comes down to how are you using it. Like I find that when I actually grabbed the camera because I'll be honest, I kind of forgot I was recording this video today. And I was just standing in the kitchen. I just opened up YouTube Shorts and was just gonna doom scroll. And then remembered we were working on this video today. So I went, grabbed the camera while I'm cooking these sausages and doing things inside and thought, let's just finish the conversation we started earlier. So as I'm launching this brand, and as you look to launch your own project, your own pursuit, chase your own dream, I guess what I would really encourage you to do is just count the cost, evaluate what in your life what do you need to set aside and remove so that you can better chase what you're trying to chase, right? Like what is the cost of pursuing something, of building something new, of building a new project, building a new brand, launching something that you've always dreamt of doing, of chasing your dream. What is the cost? And I make it sound really simple, maybe. I feel like I'm just cluster messing this up. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're struggling to get creative, put your phone down, like turn the TV off, log out of apps, delete them off your phone, your tablet, and just take like a week or two away from those things to see how that impacts your creativity, how that allows you the opportunity to just have empty space in your life, in your mind, where maybe you're just sitting there. Like I did this last week where I went to sleep and I turned the TV off about 20 minutes before I normally would and just laid there in the dark and in the quiet stillness of bed and just kind of rehashed my day and then thought of a few things I'm working on and trying to problem solve with the intention to maybe have just empty space to decompress, debrief on my day and figure out how I'm going to move to the next stage with this brand I'm launching. I've got one more video I'm going to do where I kind of talk about a new direction I'm going with content in general. And I keep kind of teasing the brand, but I promise there's kind of a reveal coming soon. But until then, just keep checking back. I'm not rushing to reveal the brand. I'm not rushing to spill all the details. because I want to make sure I do this right. And I want to make sure I do this intentionally and very strategically. So I know it's like every week it's how I'm building a brand, what I'm doing to build a brand, why I'm building a brand. We're getting there to the point where I actually kind of reveal what I'm building, what it's called. But it's important to me to kind of bring you along the journey. So, well, that's all I got. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go.